Over the past week, villagers in Wangang in Guangdong province gathered to protest land seizures and corrupt local officials. This comes on the heels of last year's protests in Wukong over a similar issue. The protests in Wukong led to the selection of one of the protest leaders as the new village party secretary. In both Wangang and Wukong, villagers gathered to protest land seizures, seeking fair compensation and calling for the removal of the village party secretary. In Wukong, the protests not only sought redress for allegedly illegal land seizures by local village cadres, but also succeeded in replacing corrupt local officials with elected village officials approved by the protesters. In Wangang, despite harkening back to the success of Wukong, the protesters have not yet sacked local officials, and they seem to lack the same unity witnessed in Wukong so far. Guangdong has historically created problems for central control. Sitting on the southern coast far from Beijing with excellent ports and strong international trade ties, not to mention a completely different dialect, Guangdong has an identity unique from the political capital. Beijing tries to rein in Guangdong through co-option, namely in the past decade by placing leaders loyal to Beijing in the highest levels of provincial power. The current provincial secretary, Wang Yang, has been tipped to be a Politburo member in the coming 2012 transition. Wang Yang has ties to the Communist Youth League, the current president Hu Jintao's power base, and is thought to be close to the central government's leadership. However, the current strife in Guangdong could impact his rise to power, especially as the Chongqing development model, led by another Politburo contender, Bo Xilai, has garnered much praise from Beijing. Governance in Chongqing and Guangdong are often compared, as are their two leaders, Bo Xilai and Wang Yang, in their different histories and approaches to economic and social development. Further, both these leaders and their regions are considered competitors as models for development. Protests and unrest in Guangdong are not new, and given the province's dependence on exports, protests have proliferated as the global demand has slowed and urbanization has accelerated, fueling land grabs. Nevertheless, Wukong was notable in its ability to force political change. If other towns in Guangdong are able to achieve the same results, this could develop into a new paradigm for protests. At the moment, this Wukong model seems limited to Guangdong and at least one incident in Fujian. And as we've said, Guangdong has been historically unique, and Fujian has similar characteristics. However, if this new dynamic were to spread to provinces such as, say, Shandong in the north close to Beijing, this contagion could provide a stark challenge to the central leadership. The Wukong protests were not large, but they caught the attention of Beijing. Beijing knows it needs to carefully weigh the need for political reform. If it gives too much, then the trend could proliferate. But if it doesn't give enough, the ire that is currently focused on local leaders could turn to the central government.